Hello class, Varsha Patil Gurve, welcome you all in this lecture 3 where we are going to learn about comparison between the electric and magnetic circuit based on their similarities and dissimilarities. Next one is Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. For that purposes, Fleming's right hand rule for generator, Fleming's left hand rule for motor and Lenz's law. Firstly, comparison of magnetic and electric circuit. In this also, we will see the similarities between electric and magnetic circuit. Yes, it is true there are number of similarities between electric circuit and magnetic circuit. Although there are similar quantities which we can express with the same sentences across electric and magnetic circuit. We will see that one by one to get easy remembrance or easily rememorize or to get a clear representation in exam point of view also. The nice method is a tabular method. We make a two column, one for electric circuit and next one is for magnetic circuit, and put it down or note down. So first, in electric circuit, what we call the electric circuit is the path traced by the electric current is called electric circuit, or the closed loop in which current can pass is called electric circuit. Yes, it is true. On the same line or similarly, we can define the magnetic circuit as the path traced by the magnetic flux is defined as magnetic circuit. If you are talking about the electric circuit, then path followed by current. Current is the main word. While if you say about a magnetic circuit, simply replace the current word by magnetic flux, because while we talking about the electric circuit, current is a function of voltage or current is a function of EMF. But in case of a magnetic circuit, magnetic flux is a function for MMF. Now next one is EMF. EMF means electromotive force is the responsible or driving force in electric circuit with unit volt. But in magnetic circuit, similarly, the force responsible for driving magnetic circuit is called MMF, stand for magnetomotive force, which having unit is ampere turns. Ampere, current passing through a conductor into number of turns of a coil. Number 3, or the next similarity, there is a current I, current denoted by letter I and measured in ampere. Current I in the electric circuit. While in a magnetic circuit, similarly, if in electric circuit current is a quantity, then in a magnetic circuit there is a flux denoted by letter phi in the magnetic circuit and measured in Weber. 1 Weber is equal to 10 to the power 8 lines of force. Number 4th, or the next one, similarity between the electric and magnetic circuit is, in electric circuit, the flow of electrons decide the current in the conductor. Yes, if you are talking about the good conductor, then there will be a number of free electron is larger one. So we get a good conductivity, or actually the quantity of electron decide the current in the conductor. On the same line, the number of or the quantity of lines of force decide the flux, which is actually flow in the magnetic circuit. Next, if there is a current, then there should be an opposition. Resistance is the opposition to the flow of current. Yes, it is this quantity which oppose or property of the material which oppose the flow of current is called resistance, and resistance having unit ohm. On the same manner, in magnetic circuit, reluctance, similarly to the resistance, reluctance is opposition to magnetic path or to the flux, and it having the unit ampere turn per Weber. Next, Number 6. Resistance is directly proportional to length of the conductor and inversely proportional to the area of cross section. And the proportionality constant is called rho, which is a resistivity. And formulated, or the R should be written as R is equal to rho into L by A. In the same manner, in magnetic circuit, reluctance should be written as like L upon mu 0 into mu R, which is the permeability of that material, into area of cross section. Here also, reluctance is directly proportional to the length. Reluctance is inversely proportional to the permeability. Permeability written as mu is equal to mu 0 into mu R. And also the inversely proportionality to the area of cross section. Okay. Move toward the next, that is number 7. In electric circuit, the current is given by I, which is equals to EMF upon the resistance. Yes, by Ohm's law we find out that relationship. In a magnetic circuit also the same we can, but instead of current we have to use the flux, which is equals to, again the similar quantity for the EMF is MMF and similar quantity for the resistance here in a magnetic circuit we called reluctance. So flux is equal to MMF upon reluctance. Next one, that is the current density. Current density rho, which is equals to I by A, measured in unit A upon meter square. While in a magnetic circuit, the flux density, which is denoted by a letter B, flux per unit area, which is equals to phi by A and having unit Weber per meter square. Okay now. Next one, conductivity is reciprocal of resistivity. So conductance, which is equals to mathematically reciprocal of resistance. In a magnetic circuit, a quantity called permearance. Permearance is a reciprocal of the reluctance and should be written as 1 upon S. Last one, Kirchhoff's current and voltage laws is applicable to the electric circuit on the same line. Kirchhoff's MMF law and Kirchhoff's flux law is applicable to the magnetic circuit. As like similarities, there are also dissimilarities between the electric and magnetic circuit, which are listed as below, or which we can see easily in a tabular form again. Serial number 1, in a electric circuit, current actually flows, that is, there is movement of electron. Yes, we know that in electric circuit current is flow, that is actually electrons moved within a conducting body. While for the magnetic circuit, due to the force responsible called MMF, magnetomotive force, flux get established and does not flow in the sense in which current flows. It says, as like current, the flux is not flow. Actually, it is originated from N and terminated towards the S. Okay. If you remember that while discussing about the magnetic circuit, we take a iron core, a rectangular iron core, on which we wound the coil of n number of turns. We passes current through the coil called I quantity, and to pass the current we have to apply the battery called MMF over there. Due to the MMF, flux is set up within that iron core, and how we can get how much of the flux is established there, how much of flux is originated there. For that purpose, we calculate the flux density, that is we take the area of cross section A and we said B is equal to phi by A. Again, most importantly, the permeability of that material, which is mu is equal to mu 0 into mu R. Now we get, yes, flux does not actually physically flow as like current, but it get produced over there. Next one, in electric circuit, there are many material which can be used as insulator, which the another name for the insulator is bad conductor of electricity. That is air, PVC, synthetic resin, etc. from which current can't pass. That's why we called it as bad conductor or insulators. In a magnetic circuit, there is no magnetic insulator as flux can pass through all the materials. Even flux can pass through the air as well. So, while we are talking about the magnetic circuit, there is no concept like insulator, okay, or magnetic insulator. It is only phenomenon with a electric circuit. That's why we discussing the dissimilarities, okay. Now the third is, in electric circuit, energy must be supplied to the electric circuit to maintain the flow of current. Yes, V is directly proportional to I. As the statement of Ohm's law, it means if there is a V, then and then we get I current or current. Or to maintain the flow of current, we should have the continuous supply of energy. But in case of a magnetic circuit, energy is required to create a magnetic flux, but it is not required to maintain it. Once it's set up, it maintains forever the time. Okay. Now next, number 4. In electric circuit, the resistance and the conductivity are independent. That is, there is no dependency. Independent of current density under constant temperature. There is no dependency between the resistance and current density, but may change due to the rise in temperature. Yes, it is true, because the resistance of the material, it depends upon the temperature, the type of material, length of material, area of cross section. Okay. In magnetic circuit, the reluctance, which is the similar quantity as like a resistance in electric circuit, as we discussed a minute before, permeance and permeability, these three are independent on the flux density. Yes, it is true, because there is no such relation between the reluctance, permeance and permeability. Now, number 5. In electric circuit, electric lines of flux are not closed. They start from positive charge and end on negative charge. Or we say the electricity passes from higher potential to the lower potential, and the lines of flux in electric circuit, because every current carrying conductor is surrounded by the magnetic field, and if there is a magnetic field, it means it directly gives the meaning there are the lines of force. But in case of electric circuit, we called it as an electric lines of force, which are not closed one. But in magnetic circuit, magnetic lines of flux are closed lines. Remember that they are closed lines. They have some specific properties, as they never intersect with each other. They already flow parallelly. They are already terminated from the N and goes towards the S1. They flow from N pole and terminated to the S pole externally, while S pole to N pole internal. Okay. Now next is number 6. In electric circuit, there is a continuous consumption of electric energy. Yes, it is true. We need a continuous supply to maintain a current within the circuit. But in case of a magnetic circuit, energy is required to create the magnetic flux only, not for the maintaining that one. Now, we will see Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. In our last chapter, that is chapter number 1, where we seen a concept of generation of AC current and voltages. That time we didn't discuss about the direction of produced EMF. But here we get the magnitude as well as a direction with help of Faraday's laws of electromagnetic inductions. First law, there are two laws, TWO, two laws of Faraday's. First law, which gives a statement as like, whenever the magnetic flux linked with a circuit changes, it means whenever there is a change in a magnetic flux which linked with the circuit, an EMF is always induced in that circuit or in it. Or the alternative statement is, whenever a conductor cuts magnetic flux, an EMF is induced in that conductor. Yes, we discussed this statement. We actually see this phenomenon while we discussing the generation. Next law stated that the magnitude of the induced EMF is directly proportional to the rate of change of flux linkage. Mathematically, flux linkage is given or formulated as flux into number of turns of the coil. Okay friends. First law, which gives a direct meaning, whenever a conductor, that is, we know the setup, we take a permanent magnet to maintain to maintain magnetic field. In that uniform magnetic field, we place a rectangular coil of a conductor. By motion of that rectangular coil of a conductor, an EMF is induced. How it induced? That conducting body is actually cuts number of flux. Whatever the number of flux cut by a conductor or vice versa, if there is a moving magnetic field and a conductor is stationary, then also EMF is induced in that conductor. It is clear? Now, the second law gives, if there is a induction or EMF is produced, then what about the magnitude of that induced EMF? This law gives us the magnitude of induced EMF is directly proportional to the flux linkage. Flux linkage or rate of change of flux linkage. Flux linkage are simply number of flux linked with that body or associated with that body. Mathematically, flux linkage is flux into number of turns. Why we considering the number of turns? Because as there as large number of turns, a larger flux should be set up in it, and we get larger number of induced EMF in that coil. So the law can be explained or law can be written as, consider a coil which having n number of turns. While we discussing about the magnetic circuit also, we take n number of turns which wound on a core or iron core. It may a rectangular shape or circular shape. Then initially the flux linking with a coil, it's said to be phi1. So initial flux linkage, it could be given as n number of turn of the coil, which we say n, capital N, into flux linked with the coil is phi1. By some time interval, the flux linking with the coil changes because we seen that the angular motion of the conductor by angle 0, 90, 270, 360. That time every time flux goes changing and the rate of flux goes changes. That's why we get AC quantity or the sinusoidal waveform. So we can say at 0 position there is a 0 flux and at 90 there is a maximum. After some time interval or after some angle, the flux linking with the coil changes from phi1 to phi2. So the final flux should be n into phi2 and rate of change of flux linkage, which is equals to n phi2 minus n phi1 divided by time t, which is actually rate of change of flux linkage. Now, as per the first law, the EMF will be induced in the coil, and as per the second law, the magnitude of induced EMF is proportional to the rate of change of flux linkage. So mathematically we can say E, small e, induced EMF represents the induced EMF, which is directly proportional to n phi 2 minus n phi 1 upon T, and the proportionality constant is called K, where E is equal to, take a constant n, and d phi by dt derivative or rate of change of should be returned. With K as unity, if K put as a 1, then, and E as a volt, d phi is change in the flux, dt is change in the time. So d phi by dt, rate of change of flux. Now as per the Lenz's law, we will see the Lenz's law. The induced EMF set up a current in such a direction so as to oppose, to resist the very cause producing it. Mathematically, this opposition is expressed by negative sign. Thus, the induced EMF is mathematically expressed along with its sign E is equal to minus n d phi by dt. After talking about the magnitude of induced EMF, now it's turn to talk about the direction of induced EMF can be decided by using two TWO2 rules. Number 1, Fleming's right hand rule, and number 2 is Fleming left hand rule. Fleming left hand rule is used to get the direction of force experienced by a conductor which carrying the current and which placed in a magnetic field, while Fleming right hand rule is used to get the direction of induced EMF when conductor is moving in a magnetic field. Okay, that's much clear as like crystal. According to Fleming right hand rule, outstretch or arrange your first 3 fingers of your right hand, namely thumb, forefinger and the middle finger, which may perpendicular to each other. Arrange the right hand so that first finger points the direction of flux lines, which actually from N to S pole, and thumb in the direction of motion of the conductor with respect to the flux. Then the middle finger will point the direction of induced EMF or the current as shown in picture. Here, with help of this figure, consider the conductor moving in a magnetic field as shown. It can be verified using Fleming right hand rule that the direction of current due to the induced EMF is coming out. That means out of the plane toward the observer. Symbolically, this should be, if you trace, or really you can do this one, or you can verify this one. Here in this slide, both are the rules over here, Fleming left hand rule and Fleming right hand rule. How we can easily remember that Fleming right hand rule and Fleming left hand rule? There is a phrase called Jenny is always right, or we can remember the right hand rule by motor drive on the left in Britain. So while talking about the right hand rule, thumb represents the direction of motion of the conductor relative to the magnetic field, and the first finger is pointed in the direction of the magnetic field. Then the second finger represents the direction of the induced or generated current within the conductor. The terminal with lower electric potential to the terminal with higher electric potential, as in a voltage source. Or if you are talking about the Fleming left hand rule, then thumb represents the direction of direction of force of the conductor. Forefinger represents the direction of magnetic field, and the center finger represents direction of current. Lastly, the Lenz's law. Lenz's law is based on the principle which gives the direction or the statement, the direction of induced EMF produced by the electromagnetic induction is such that, or it is set up a current which is always opposes the cause, the reason that is responsible for inducing the EMF. In short, the induced EMF is always opposes the cause producing it, which is represented by negative sign, and mathematically give the negative sign in the expression of induced EMF, which is equals E is equal to minus N d phi by dt. Okay, if you consider a solenoid and the experiment called a bar magnet is moved in the coil, we can easily experience the motion with help of galvanometer. Here is a summary which we gave a concept of Lenz's law. We stop here.